Hi, I'm Paul Sullenberger. In this video, we're going to cover the installation for the Ceramic Suite OSPW X for GRX 810 and 815 series 2x derailleurs, as well as Shimano Ultegra RX 800 and 805 derailleurs. We're going to start with our bike in a stand, shift it down to the smallest cog in the rear with it on a small chainring up front. Go ahead and remove the rear wheel. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the chain. And you will likely need a new, longer chain for installation at the end. We'll now go ahead, shift the derailleur up past the motor or the cable mounting point on the back to allow us to unwind the spring tension freely. Now, go ahead and locate the rotation stop screw on the bottom of the derailleur cage. Remove this with a Phillips head screwdriver. Carefully allow the cage to unwind the spring tension. We're now in a neutral position and ready to remove the clutch cover, disengage the derailleur cage body. There are 3 2mm Allen bolts on the front of the derailleur cage cover. Let's go ahead and remove each of these to take the clutch cover off. You want to be careful of these pieces as well as the clutch cover and the small clutch gasket right here, as you will reinstall these. Now, with a 4mm Allen, go ahead and insert into the bolt head through the clutch, holding the derailleur cage itself, and unwind. And take careful note, allowing the cage to move away from the derailleur body, keeping all the clutch mechanism flat against the derailleur so as not to have it disassemble. We now have the cage with its spring, dust cover, and silver washer all ready to go to move over to the OSPW X. All right, we'll now go ahead and unbox your OSPW X for Shimano GRX series and RX 800 series derailleurs. This is designed for 2x derailleur compatibility, so that's GRX 810 and 815. A little bread tie on the back. We have our OSPW system here. 15 milliliter of pulley wheel oil. And welcome pamphlet with stickers and an attention card directing to the proper installation resources. Before beginning the installation of the Ceramic Suite OSPW X cage, you want to go ahead and remove the rotation stop screw with the included placement chip. You will use the placement chip for electronic Di2 derailleurs. You do not need to use this for mechanical derailleurs. This adjusts how far back the derailleur is allowed to move and provides the adequate clearance on the backside of the derailleur. Go ahead and align our spring, our silver washer, and the plastic dust cover all over the derailleur, engaging the hooked end of the spring into the second next to the H setting for general all-around all-terrain use. Now we'll go ahead and line up on the backside of the derailleur, lining the spring and the dust cover with the groove in the derailleur body. Bring everything flush. This will push the derailleur clutch outboard slightly. Just be careful not to let that go too far. And again, with your 4mm Allen, go ahead and through the clutch, tighten the main bolt to the derailleur cage. Careful not to let things get cross-threaded. Ensure smooth movement. Ensure the dust cover is in place on the backside of the derailleur. I'll bring this around to a torque of 5.5 Newton meters. We're now ready to wind the spring tension back, placing the rotation stop screw, and we'll move ahead. We'll go ahead and wind the spring tension up and then back and down, increasing the spring tension. As this is a Di2 electronic derailleur, we will be using the placement chip here, which is placed over the rotation stop screw. You want to go ahead and get the threading started on the derailleur body. A couple turns before worrying about the placement of the placement chip. Now that we're started, it can set down into its groove. We'll tighten this into place. And this is just a light, roughly 1 Newton meter torque holding that in place, allowing the cage to stop nicely on the bottom of the derailleur. Ensure movement is free. We can now go ahead and replace the clutch cover. Notice the shape of the gasket and ensure that it sets over the clutch properly. Next, we'll have the clutch cover over the top. And we'll reinstall the 3 2mm Allen keys. These are all to a very light torque of 0.8 Newton meters. With the torque verified, we'll now shift back down to the bottom of the derailleur range, reinstall the wheel, and measure and cut for a new chain. Now we'll go ahead and route a chain through the derailleur. Make sure to go over the center post of the OSPW X cage. Over the cassette, we're going to use the smallest cog in the rear and the smallest chainring up front that the Di2 will allow, or that you can get into with your mechanical group set. And we're going to bring the chain together at the bottom. We want to activate just a little spring tension in the rear and then take one link less in distance. We'll go ahead and start to bring the ends together. Again, slight spring tension on the OSPW, and then you want to subtract the equivalent of one link. And this looks like we're right there. Now we'll go ahead, check our lower stop. Our upper stop, and ensure the shifting's good to go. And you're ready to go ride.